Yo, what's up? Ricky Sanders here. If you live for fast cars, greasy hands, and solving problems under the hood, welcome to your new favourite spot. I'm all about real fixes, no BS, and showing you how to keep your ride running like a champ. So go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's make some noise in the garage. Enough talk. Let's get wrenching.
Timely detection and immediate elimination of such a malfunction can save the purse of the car owner from tangible costs for unplanned major repairs of the motor. What should a driver do if the rings in the engine are lodged? What to do in the first place in such a situation? The power unit is designed in such a way that a certain gap separates the inner walls of the cylinders and the pistons. Special piston rings are provided to compensate for this gap. Thanks to these parts, a sufficiently reliable sealing of the combustion chamber is provided. The device of the parts under consideration assumes the presence of a special slot lock. Due to this, piston rings acquire the ability to retain some mobility, shrinking and unclenching under certain circumstances. This useful quality creates the possibility of a permanent reliable adhesion of the part to the cylinder wall. Purpose of piston rings. Among the main key elements that make up the design of power units, not the least place is given to pistons. For long-term preservation of their working condition, it is necessary to maintain quality lubrication of parts. At the same time, the combustion chamber must be constantly protected from oil penetration. Unclosed rings put on the piston have two varieties, compression and oil rings. The difference lies in the functions they perform. The main purpose of compression rings is to protect the crankcase of the power plant from the penetration of gases from the combustion chamber. Compressing and uncompressing within the limits provided by the designers, they maintain the required pressure in the system. Engine compression rings are usually used in pairs. In this case, the brakes of the non-closed elements are placed relative to each other at 180°. This method of placement contributes to a better seal. In the design of modern engines there is another ring, the oil ring. Its function is to protect the combustion chamber from oil penetration. Separately, we note that for the installation of rings on the pistons there are special grooves. Such a device is laid by the manufacturers in the design of the unit, providing a sufficiently reliable fixation of parts. Prerequisites for the laying of rings. Long-term operation of the engine causes a large layer of carbon deposits to form on its components. This is considered to be the main cause of ring seizure. And the main prerequisites for the formation of excessive amounts of carbon deposits are short-term driving on an insufficiently warmed engine. Small distances of 5 to 10 kilometers are considered especially dangerous. Various damages to oil caps, up to complete failure. Lubricants of insufficiently high quality poured into the power unit. It should be noted that oil with proper level properties does not burn out in the engine, retaining the set initial characteristics. The last cause of excessive fouling is untimely replacement of lubricant. It is necessary to carefully follow the manufacturer's recommendations limiting the period of use of the petroleum product. You should also remember to change the oil filter regularly and on time. Symptoms of piston ring seizure. First of all, it should be noted that most often there is a priority laying of oil rings, while compression rings are much longer able to retain mobility, not succumbing to coking. The main signs indicating the beginning of an undesirable process are considered: unreasonable increase in the consumption of engine oil by the powertrain. The increase in consumption is explained by the partial penetration of lubricant into the combustion chamber, where it is used for carbon monoxide. Engine operation is accompanied by emission of blue smoke from the engine compartment. The rationale for this process is the combustion of oil that has entered the chamber. It is noticed that blue smoke becomes especially noticeable when crankshaft RPM increases under a certain load or after the engine warms up. Difficulties in starting the power unit on cold. The appearance of a noticeable decrease in compression in the cylinders. Reduction of engine output. The engine is unable to achieve the required power. Note that the explanation for the last three symptoms is a lower compression ratio of the fuel-air mixture in the cylinders due to Insufficient quality sealing caused by piston ring lodging. In particularly neglected cases, a burning odor is clearly perceptible in the passenger compartment. In such difficult situations, you cannot do without replacing the elements in question. The appearance of any of the above signs requires immediate intervention. It is necessary to urgently take measures to Raskixovny rings, in order to prevent more significant malfunctions in the power unit. Raskixovka ring. So, having recognized the above symptoms, you have found that the engine lodged compression or oil rings and think about the question of what should be done in the first place. How can you resolve the situation with the least damage to the affected unit? Let's try to figure it out together. If the rings are stuck, it is not necessary to rush to the nearest workshop or urgently call a specialist, whose services will cost a lot of money. The problem can be easily eliminated by your own efforts. To do this, it will be necessary to carry out the so-called ring descaling, based on the removal of various deposits like coke and carbon deposits from the internal space of the combustion chamber. It is the formation of these substances that causes sticking of piston seals, limiting the necessary mobility. Let's consider the most accessible way to crack the rings by hand, without removing the engine. It consists in cleaning the combustion chamber with special compositions. To subsequently not have to break your head how to replace the piston rings, we recommend using this method. On the automotive market, in a fairly wide range of such means are presented. Among the variety of products offered to caring owners of personal transport by the chemical industry, the composition called lava is in high demand. However, domestic motorists are not accustomed to using ready-made means, preferring, in order to save money, to do everything with their own hands from improvised materials. It should be taken into account that proper cleaning of the chamber is possible only in the absence of oil in the system. Therefore, before starting piston ring descaling, the lubricating oil product is drained from the engine. Further, simultaneously the working space of all cylinders is filled with a prepared in advance composition of kerosene mixed with acetone. After that, the plugs are screwed into place and allow the cleaning agent to perform its functions. Usually the process lasts for 10 to 12 hours. It is recommended to diversify the waiting period by regularly cranking the crankshaft a few degrees, then again remove the plugs and the cleaning fluid is drained. In order to completely free the engine from the mixture, the motor is cranked with the starter. Return the drained lubricant to its place. This is necessary to conduct a preliminary check of the quality of cleaning the engine from deposits in the combustion chamber. If after some time of operation of the power unit the symptoms of deposits do not appear, the goal is considered to have been achieved. The final step is to change the oil. In doing so, do not ignore the manufacturer's recommendations and use a lubricant that does not correspond to the engine model. The seasonality of the oil product should also be taken into account. When updating the lubricant, it is obligatory to install replaced oil filters. It should be noted that instead of the above-mentioned mixture is quite suitable as a cleaner is kerosene. Except that the time of its effect on deposits in the chamber is somewhat prolonged. Conclusion: it is established by experienced drivers that the operating characteristics of the power unit depend on many factors. Not the last place among them belongs to the functional abilities of the combustion chamber. Therefore, after the implementation of piston ring descaling, it is necessary to try to prevent their relaying. Just change the lubricant in time. Stuck rings. In conclusion, understanding the role of rings in an engine is crucial for effective diagnostics and maintenance. By recognizing the common faults associated with engine rings, such as excessive oil consumption, loss of compression, and unusual noises, you can take proactive steps to address these issues. Employing methods like visual inspections, compression tests, and leak-down tests will help pinpoint the problem accurately. Remember, timely intervention can save you from more extensive repairs down the line. Stay informed and keep your engine running smoothly. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more insights on engine care and diagnostics.